in our mediated agreement, article number 7, it says by December 1st, 2013, Hooksett will provide Manchester with an estimate of the number of students who will be attending Manchester schools and will provide a final number as soon as possible, but no later than March 31st. Hooksett will inform Manchester by December 1st, 2014, December 1st of each year thereafter of the number of students assigned to attend Manchester schools. With the current high school agreement submitted to this board decided to submit to the New Hampshire Department of Education, as well as the Hillsborough County Superior Court, states that Hooksett needs to provide this estimate with the number of students. Because of this, the school board needs to take this action to make sure we comply with this agreement.
It's already been seconded. We're speaking to the motion. I support John's motion, and I thank him for bringing this to our attention. I know we've had a lot of focus on the MOUs and the contracts, but I think this is really the first requirement of what we've agreed to, or the first deadline that's coming up, and I think we should meet it. We don't want to put ourselves in a point where we are not complying with a contract with Manchester, particularly after all that went on last year, as we were accusing Manchester of not complying with the contract that we had. So I think fair is fair, and I think we should get this number and get it to them.
Is there any more discussion on this? Okay, would there be no further discussion? We'll call this to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
Madam Chair, I'd like to discuss how we are going to comply with the known agreement that was just brought up. If we don't, we didn't support this motion. Is there another method by which this board is going to comply with our settlement agreement?
I think this motion is premature at this time. We're waiting to meet with our attorney and present to the community what the options are, to ask people where if they're going to Manchester, we don't have the plan on the table yet, and we're asking them to decide. I think we need to have the plan on the table before we force people. I mean, there are members of the community that are going out and doing their due diligence as a family to find their best options for their children. I think this is premature at this time, and we could ask Dr. I personally think it is, but we could certainly ask Dr. Littlefield his professional opinion. Dr. Littlefield, if we wait until November 19th, are we within our contractual agreement? I don't know what the right word is to use for the in compliance.
Well, I think parents need to know what their options are, and they don't. And our obligation is not to survey 8th grade parents. It's to estimate the total number of youngsters that are going to be attending Manchester schools. The possibility does exist, for instance, that a freshman in Manchester who couldn't get into Pinkerton next year, if Pinkerton is an option, may decide to leave Manchester and go to Pinkerton, or a year ago. So there's all kinds of movement that might take place with freshmen, sophomores, and upperclassmen in Manchester. And there may come a point in time where we've got to, with the cooperation of the Manchester School District, survey our kids that are attending school there. We may have kids at Londonderry that decide at the end of the year that Londonderry wasn't what they thought they was going to be and are going to go to West. So there are a lot of sources for our student population in Manchester outside of the current 8th grade.
Madam Chair, I'm concerned that if we wait till the 19th, we won't have time to execute what Dr. Littlefield just described. This is an estimate, and I think to comply with the agreement, all we have to do is provide an estimate. But I think we need to have a mechanism, and this board needs to take action, as the board is the one that approved the agreement. We are on the hook, if you will, for this, and I think if we do not make an attempt to make an estimate, a good faith estimate, then we're starting right off by violating our agreement. So I guess, if you say wait till the 19th, what are we gonna do on the 19th?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay, I'm sorry. I think I would say easiest way to deal with this, I know Dr. Littlefield has communication, I'm sure, with the new superintendent in Manchester, and he can speak to her and work this out. There's no need for us to take any votes, etc. It's as easy as that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Liscard.
To Mr. Devo's comment, this is a mediated agreement, came from the court. This is not just something we do in the back alley and hash out with friends. This is an agreement that we have to comply with, and we are the board, that we have to decide how we're going to comply with this. And I made a motion, so I'd like to hear somebody else's ideas and making a motion on how we're going to comply with this legal document that we have signed as a board.